All right, hi, welcome back, Attorney Steve Vondran. Today we're talking about copyright and the public domain. Okay, this is real important stuff, especially if you don't have much money, but you're trying to create creative documentaries or creative videos or other things. Maybe you're just looking for some free video, free images, historical documents, things like that. There are things called the public domain. That means the copyright has expired, or there are no copyrights, or they were abandoned, or there could be a dedication to the public interest of the copyright. So there are a ton of works out there, especially old works, going back, let's just say back into the 1920s and earlier. A lot of that stuff's all public domain, meaning you can use it. It's not protectable. Copyright does not last forever. So I put together a little presentation to help give you some insights, tips, tricks, and resources. I'm going to give you a bunch of websites where you can go and try to find content that you can use for free, okay? Now, again, when it says for free, you can use it without permission, without paying a fee, without a license. Let's get going. All right, how do we get there? There we go. This is a new product I'm working with. What is the public domain? The public domain imagery and digital content, film, video, that kind of thing is not subject to copyright restrictions, usually due to one of the following three. One, the copyright has expired. So say in the United States, let's say there's different rules and whatnot, but let's say copyright expires after the life of the author, after the author dies, plus 70 years. So the descendants in the estate can have the copyrights for a while, okay, like the Michael Jackson music and things like that. Number two, the copyright never existed. Maybe you're looking at content that's facts. If it's factual data, somebody thinks they have a copyright, it's not copyrightable. Facts, ideas, methods, things like that. And finally, that the copyrights were abandoned or dedicated into the public domain, and we'll talk about that in a second, okay? Expiration. Hey, who's that guy? Wow, he's a good-looking attorney there. Expiration. Let's assume that a copyright lasts for the life of the author plus 70 years. Once this period expires, the copyright automatically goes into the public domain. Then anyone can use it, modify, create derivative works, okay? There's a company you may see, Getty Images, and most people know about them. They sell content that is in the public domain, okay? And their justification is that they put it together, help you find the right art and do all that stuff. So they're charging for public domain. So that's one of the ideas of what you can do. As we see, be thinking content prior to 1920 is what I'm always thinking about. And it goes even more recent than that, but that's just a rule of thumb that I use for myself. And this amounts to a whole lot of content. We're talking millions and millions and millions of pieces of content free to use. Okay, that's just great. Now, keep in mind, with the internet now, we find content that comes from all over the world. Not all countries follow copyright laws. Not all copies have the same duration of copyright, and not all will have the same public domain guidelines. So generally, I like to say, this is not legal advice, but follow your own country's rules. And that's probably a good place to start. I don't know how you can comply with all the countries in the world that are members of the Berne Convention, let's say. All right, moving on to slide 5 of 11, intentional abandonment. This is where a copyright holder, rights holder, can lose their rights, their copyrights. And with a copyright, you get a bundle of rights, a right to reproduce, to distribute, to publicly perform, so forth and so on. But you can lose your rights if you intentionally abandon your rights, and there's an overt act showing that you abandon your rights. And again, if you do that, there's no transfer document required. It automatically goes into the public domain, okay? And this was the case I was telling you about. A lady had a very massive and vast art collection, and she donated it, I believe, to the Smithsonian. Getty got their hands on it, and of course they sold it. And I believe what happened, don't quote me, is that she used one of her own images on her website, and then Getty tried to pursue her for copyright infringement, and she filed like $1 billion lawsuit. I think it may still be going on. I'm not 100% sure, but that's just a look. There you can see the overt act is she dedicated them, donated them to Smithsonian, and she made an overt act to say, I don't want the copyrights. you can have them, put them in the Smithsonian. Anyway, so here you are, you have different things. And here's some different ways abandonment may pop up. One, say you're at a seminar and you're saying, hey, you guys can record this. Don't worry. There's no copyright restrictions. Help yourself. That is an act, an intentional act, overt action saying, I'm not going to take copyrights to this. I'm filming it, but I'm not going to take the copyrights to it. Do what you want. Estate planning, you may say, well, I'm going to die in a few years and I want to donate my copyright collection that I own, maybe personally or as the owner of the estate of another artist, a musician or author or whatnot, and I'm going to give it away as part of an estate planning tool. That may be another way just to abandon your copyrights. And finally, as I just mentioned, this case with the Smithsonian, dedicating it to the public domain just through a public domain. Now, there is Creative Commons where you can just, there's a public domain or zero copyright designations you can make to just donate your work to the public. Copyright never existed. Again, if you find content like facts, ideas, maybe you find something where it's a formula, how to do this, something that's things that are functional in nature can't be copyrighted, short phrases, not copyrightable, titles, typeface, like typewriter typeface, blank forms, things like that, factual legal forms, things like that. And again, this is not legal advice, but be thinking not everything that's fixed in a tangible form can be copyrighted. So you have a right to use those, subject to other issues and rights that may exist, okay? Other IP options for these types of things, just because a short phrase or a title may not be copyrighted, you could get a trademark on something. Nike, just do it. Trademark, okay? Patents, if you have functional methods, things like that, functional things, that could be subject to a patent. So there's different types of intellectual property. All right, moving along, slide 7. Do you have to give attribution for public domain works? No, it's not a law. I'm not aware of any law, but it's considered good etiquette and to find the name of the author, state their full name, any pseudonames, cite the date and the source. Where did you get it? What was the date of the work? And also, if there's any other special rules, and I'm going to give you some resource sites here in a minute, but a lot of the sites will have special rules. You can do this, but you can't do that. You can use it for commercial, but you can't use it for that. You need to give me attribution, and I also need a link to my website. So read the rules closely before you rely on public domain. Again, this is a tricky area. You want to make sure you're safe, but by doing these kinds of things, you can help build yourself what's called an innocent infringement defense. You're trying to do everything possible to make sure you're not infringing a copyright, giving the attribution, the title, the name, the source. And if you're wrong, you can say, man, I did everything I could. Innocent infringement, isn't that $200 under the copyright laws? Something like that, okay? All right, busting along here. Here's some resources, how to find some images. Again, look at my notes here, follow any special instructions, check the terms, check the conditions, make sure you know what you're doing. Sometimes I will even print these out and put them in a folder. Some of these sites will offer limits. You can only have 10 downloads. So follow the instructions, make sure you find them, and follow the rules closely. Next, here's my sources. These are some great ones. If you want a link, you can look at this. The Met Collection, Unsplash, Pixabay, Wikimedia Commons. There's a lot of things on Flickr that you can find. Pexels is good. What else? Smithsonian has an open access site. There's a lot of reasons. Guys, this is just scratching the surface. So this is just, let's go look at a few more here. Stock footage for free. Public domain review. NASA has some free images. You gotta look. You can't use their logos and things like that. And so here's a bunch. If you want to go click on these, I set up a site just for you. You got to go to my website, publicdomainlawyer.com. That's Public Domain Lawyer. These sites will be live. You just click them and it'll take you where you need to go. Okay? Who else is working hard for you? Thank you. All right, so that's about it. Our legal services here, copyright lawyers. Since 2004, we've been helping a lot of people. Some of the things we can help with: public domain clearance, fair use opinions, copyright licensing, copyright recapture. You can recapture licenses in some instances that you've given out. Film and music contracts and legal issues, photo infringement, mediation, arbitration, federal court litigation. Vondran Legal, me, the attorney, has appeared in, I think it's over 500 cases now. That's just federal, not counting my state law cases, and YouTube legal issues, and generally any other legal issues that you have. So that's it, guys. General legal information only. I hope this has been helpful. Yes, there are resources out there for you that you can use, third-party content in your videos, on your blogs, on your products, and things like that. And not need to pay or have a license or have permission. So there you have it. Check out some of these resources. Go to publicdomainlawyer.com, and I hope this has been helpful. Have a great day. Bye now.